Hi, it is Liz from Lohas Canada. It is June the 5th, 2020. This is a podcast about knitting, about sewing, and then all things crafty, more of an eco-friendly side to things. So we will get into some knitting because it's been a couple weeks, I think, since my last podcast, and it's been busy. I really stepped up more in my sewing game, but I did finish the knitted skirt. So this is by Deer, my little black skirt, I think it's called. And so this one is made within hemp and wool. So cascade yarn, I think it's eco hemp and wool. And then what I also held in was some sock weight. So the black is sock weight. So it's a little bit heavy now that we're into June. It is actually pretty cold outside, but I just blocked it yesterday, so it is still a bit damp, so it's showing up a lot darker than it actually is. And so this also isn't supposed to be here where it's supposed to be on the other side. So when I knit, I do have a problem figuring out which is the one that's going to be on the outside or the inside. So that's been kind of an issue for me, but it still looks great, I think. So it'll just depend once it fully dries of how this flare sits on my body. I tried it on yesterday after I was done, and then it just kind of flared out and didn't have any movement. It is eco-friendly yarn and hemp, so hemp sometimes grows. And I only had 2 balls of yarn for this, so I think I needed a third one just to make it a little bit longer. I will have to wear these, I think, with tights or something because it's just a little bit short at the back for me. But it's probably like a small and I'm more of a medium, but that's all the eco-friendly or the hemp yarn I had. So I wasn't going to buy another ball, and I thought it still looks fine, it still looks great, and hemp sometimes grows so I didn't know how much it would grow once it's blocked. So I did, at the very bottom, I ran out of the eco hemp yarn and you're supposed to turn it in. I don't think I actually did it correctly. I forgot to look at the pattern of how I was supposed to end it. But I just ended up knitting with the stock yarn at the bottom, which is black, and it's kind of got some other colors into it, like a whitish color. And then I just folded it under, but I think because it cinches it in a little bit, I don't think that was the correct way to do that. So I'll have to look at the pattern again. But I really like it. It does have an elasticated waistband now, and that elastic's in, and it fits really, really great at the waist. And I like somehow it flares out. I'm gonna have to see how I really like it once it is fully dried, but because it was flaring out up like my backside too, and it just didn't sit quite right with me, so I wasn't too sure. But with this pattern, it is such a great pattern because you can make quite a bit of modifications to this. Like, I was thinking, well, here to here fits awesome, like it fits my body, and usually I wear a little bit tighter clothing. I don't wear things that flare out as much, or if I do, it's usually past my knee and then it can flare out. So I could just keep on increasing up until there and then continue with straight knitting and then have it flare out more at the bottom. That's always an option if I wanted to do a wool skirt for the winter. Another option is when I had these on, I put my hand in between my legs and they would make awesome shorts. So I don't know if I would use the same material for shorts because it would be like, I don't wear shorts in the winter time, but if you used cotton or something else that had a little bit of stretch to it, maybe a sock yarn, then I think that would be really nice to make some shorts in the summertime that you can wear. Maybe make the band a bit bigger or smaller, just depending on your size or what you're going to wear with it. But I think that's a really great way I can change up the pattern a bit and get different results with the skirt because it fits really nice at the waist. I screwed up and I did not do this band properly, but it is a really great design, and yeah. That's what I did yesterday. I finished that up yesterday, and I started a couple days ago. I started making, it's called oh man, My Little Secret crop. So it's a 3x3 ribbing. And I saw this pattern, let me just see, it's by Jessica Maed, M-A-E-D, My Little Secret crop. So this was a free pattern at the beginning, no, it looks like the end of March, and there's like lots of designers who are putting out a lot of free patterns for people who are staying at home. So I picked that one up, and yeah, it's just got a little bit of a cuff here. And then you're knitting from the bottom up, and you can make it a crop top, you can make it a longer shirt. So that's what I'm going to do, because I don't wear crop tops, and I have a little bit of a high-waisted jean, like it goes up just past, I guess, my belly button. But it's not the super high-waisted jean, which I'd be more comfortable wearing with the crop top, but I just hate... I already wore jeans, like high-waisted jeans in the 90s, and I'm kind of done with them. So I want to make this just a normal tank top. And this yarn I picked up at Michael's is just loops and thread cream cotton. And it has, so it's a 87% cotton, 13% nylon. So it was an inexpensive yarn, but really nice color, and I think just adding more cotton things in the summertime is going to help me continue to knit, because I usually drop off in the summertime knitting. But now that things are kind of easing up of where I am on the west coast of Canada, we are doing some knit nights with a lot of social distancing, just in parks or fields or something. So I'll still continue knitting in the summertime and meeting up with different knitting groups and stuff, just depending on how regulations go. But yeah, we had our first knit night back, and we just met up in a field, and everyone brought their own chairs and everything, and we're just able to chat and see what we're all working on and how we're all doing. And it's interesting because I obviously have a different life. I don't have kids, so it was interesting to hear what was happening more on like the kids side and graduation and stuff and daycare and things that I don't have in my immediate world. So it's interesting, and it was just nice kind of just to get out a bit. So yeah, so those are the two knitting things. So that is done, and then just the crop tops. So let's get into some sewing. So I bought this pattern. It is a dress. So I bought this pattern from Ellie and Mac. It is the Tulip Dress. So it requires 4-way stretch knit fabric. So I did have to purchase some knit fabric, which is funny because I don't even know, you know, I usually use linen and cotton. Knit fabric has to have some sort of spandex or stretch into it, obviously. So I was able to find this fabric. I also found some blue fabric as well, and some swimsuit material fabric, but that's another story. But I was trying to find something that didn't have as much spandex. Spandex is obviously plastic material, like it's not a natural material. So natural in the sense it's gonna break down fast compared to, say, cotton or linen. So with that, I was trying to find something that I could make that would look good, that didn't have a high percentage of spandex in it. So that's why I found this material. I did some modifications. So the modifications I did was adding pockets into it, which wasn't the greatest idea, just because the pockets on a really tight dress, and this one has negative E, so it really sticks to your body, kind of makes it stick out a bit. So my stitching is not great, so I am making some adjustments to it, but if you see, the pockets are sticking out a bit just because the fabric does have some memory to it. You can't tell as bad. I think if I didn't have this rouging or these gathers on each side of the leg, then it would be a lot worse, like if it was just a straight cut. but it's not too bad. The pockets I used were from Helen's Closet, the culottes, the Winslow culottes, which are really deep pockets. So I use them. I always like pockets in my dress, but I think with this style, I did post it on one of the sewing groups I'm in, and they said you could add a little pieces of Velcro inside to make them stick together a little bit more, or little snaps, and that'll help it lay a bit flatter. But I just might leave it. It's not bothering me too much. My other modification that I did is I added about 5 inches, 5.5 inches actually, I think, to the bottom. So I noticed in the comments and in a lot of the pictures they were short. Like if I was going clubbing, it would be totally fine if I wore some, like, you know, the dress and maybe some tights or something, or, you know, a lot of people were just wearing a bare leg, but it's pretty short, just the pattern. So I did see there was one comment where a lady who was like 5'1", the pattern's for a person for 5'5", so she was 5'1", and she said she wished she made it a little bit like 3 inches longer, which is actually quite a bit. So because of that adjustment as well, I was like, okay, well, maybe 5 inches is good. And I really do think so. It comes just to my knee, which is kind of where I want when I sit, and then when I stand up, it just goes just below my knee. So it's pretty a comfortable length for me. I think if I was, you know, more in the city or something, I could go a lot shorter, but I'm not. I'm more in the suburbs, and I wouldn't want to wear a super short dress. So that was my only thing. My other thing is I haven't done knit fabric before. It's been a long time, and I don't know if I did before when I was sewing as a teenager. So I had a lot of snags, some ripped fabric. Just learning how to sew with knits is interesting. It's pretty easy with the serger, I would say, because they don't have a problem going apart. So I do have some blue material, which is this. And I just posted today, this morning, of a video of all my fabrics that I have for personal use, not commercial use. Like, I make eco-friendly products. Some of it is for commercial use, but it's something I need to brainstorm about. But I just posted a video about my personal use stash of fabric, so you can see that and then see all the fabrics I have. So from here, I got this fabric, and this fabric by the same company in Toronto. And so this is a swimsuit fabric, which is pure, or it's activewear, but it's pure nylon. It's got nylon and spandex, I think. So it's got no cotton, no breathable material. It can be used for activewear as well. It was pretty cheap. In that other video I also talk about, I thought this color was going to be more of a red color, and it's more of a hot pink color, which I think is going to be still okay. My envision for this is going to be learning how to make swimsuit. So swimsuit top and bottom, and then a one piece. I do have a pattern for a one piece. So, and I bought, I don't know, at least a yard. Maybe a yard and a half of it. So that's a lot to play with and figure that out, because I knew even if I just make a two piece, I have lots of material to make mistakes with that. So, but this, I also bought a shirt from Ellie and Mac Patterns, and so that's, I was originally going to make another dress, and I was talking with my sister, and I was like, I actually don't wear a ton of dresses, and it's kind of a limited opportunity in the summertime, and when it's nice out where I actually wear dresses. So I think I'm going to make a shirt out of these, and then also with this pattern, you can omit the rouging at the bottom, and you can also just do a straight like dress, you know, you don't have to have that rouging. And so there's lots of variability to this, and also you can also make just a shirt. They do have the pattern for the rouging on the shirt if you wanted to make a shirt with rouging on it. That's not really my style, I don't think, but maybe it could be, I don't know. But I was just thinking, I don't need the rouging on it, so I could make also just a plain because this, I think this looks pretty nice just for a plain t-shirt. So that's gonna be in the works in the next couple weeks. So last week I made 2 tops for my sister. It was her birthday and I wanted to give her something a bit handmade. And so she wanted a top, like a tube top type thing. It had elastic at the top and elastic at the bottom. The original picture had it more gathered and then having thick straps. But when we did the gather, it kind of created these puffs in the side. And I think even in the picture, I think you could stretch it out a bit so then it didn't look like you had these puffs on the side all the time. So what I actually did with, because it was made out of linen, is just put it across so it was kind of tight to her. I did put elastic at the top and the bottom. And then I put some buttons on so she could get in and out of it. So I did a mock-up on me. I haven't done any tailoring before. So it was really interesting because I'm more of a medium and she's more of a small. And so just adjusting things like the straps were interesting, you know, like where they would sit on me doesn't necessarily fall really well on her. So yeah, it was good. And then the second one, so that first one didn't have a pattern. It was just me taking some measurements. I did one for myself and then tried it on her and then tailored it that way and then made her a completely different one. So the second one I made was View A. And I've shown this pattern quite a bit because I have made for myself View B out of linen. And it worked out pretty well. So with the View A, I showed it last podcast and I didn't do any tailoring on that one, but what I did is did I do a completely different one? I'm pretty sure I did. No, I tailored hers in. So what I did is I got her to come here and I just drew on it with a marker that removes when there's heat. So even for myself, the neckline for this was way too high on me. You could see in the video it's kind of bunching up at the front here, and then at the back, so you can see that here. So on the back here, it was too far in the very top pieces. So I actually had to take out like 1.5 to 2 inches on each side. And that worked a lot better. Even for me, I would have to take it in quite a bit. And for some reason, like, I was thinking, is this like a teen pattern or something? Because this hit me, both me and my sister, at the belly button, like the upper belly button. So that was totally fine with her. She likes the crop tops. But for me, I was like, oh, it's a really cute pattern, but I would definitely like it to be a little bit longer, and it just being a little bit longer. And so I made a draft of that with some parchment paper. I traced out the pattern, just moved it down a bit, and yeah, that was that. So I'm going to make another one of these. I think it would be interesting also to do it in a lighter fabric. Linen is really nice. I do have some paisley I think I might make it out of, and the other option would be to maybe make it with like a heavier weight fabric on the outside and then a lighter weight fabric on the inside, just to try to keep the fabric weaves the same. But alright, and so with this dress I also wanted to make, so Ellie and Mac, we're going back to Ellie and Mac. I bought 3 of their patterns, I think. So this dress, they're called Frisky Underwear, and just because I'm not sewing great doesn't mean the pattern's not great. They look huge, but they are, they fit me, so they're a medium. They're more of a brief for like full coverage, fully covers my bum, and I wanted to try to make panties out of it. Super easy, actually. It didn't take me that long at all. So let's just chat about underwear for a second, because I've always had a problem with underwear, and now that I go get underwear every couple years just because underwear just breaks down. Like, you get holes in them and all that stuff. And the more and more I shop for underwear, the more I find that they're just made out of like polyester or nylon, and it's like a huge percentage of it. So I was like, oh, well, I need to start making underwear because this is getting ridiculous. You actually don't want like spandex and nylon and all this like poly stuff next to your skin, especially down there. I mean, it's fine for clothing, but for underwear, I'd rather have it cotton. So I did try with 100% cotton, and they did, there's just no way you could put them on. They were just like a diaper. You would have to put it on the sides. And then for the liner, don't mind the zigzag stitch. For the liner, I thought I could use just like some unbleached muslin, but it doesn't have any stretch. So what I would probably do next time is just, well, and also kind of looks like a panty liner now in there. So it wasn't the best go. So next time what I would do is put this in there and then do the same material for this, and then on the top of it I could just have a strip of like cotton or something, so what's next to your skin can breathe a bit, and I think that'll be a lot better. Or maybe something closer to the fabric color that's maybe a cotton or something. But for my first pair of underwear, that seems pretty good. They do have different sizes, like high-waisted, medium-waisted, and low-waisted panties in the pattern. So, and they do have a video for it. So it's pretty easy to follow. And I just got a bit of trim, and they do have like how to do elastic on there and stuff too. So that was another goal of mine, is to start making a bunch of panties. Anyhow, I'm going to give you an update on how the corset is going, so I'm going to go change into that. Alright, so I have the corset on, and so what happened last time is I had it done. I had the busk in. It was pinned in. I wasn't too sure about it and if I needed to add some extra boning, and the back, at the very back, they were touching where you would put then the eyelets. I already put the eyelets in. So this is still my very first mock-up, and this is made out of the duck canvas. So I was just trying to see the fit and everything. So what I did is I put the boning in, which are just zap straps, and I posted it on the Stitchlings group. So that's the Foundations Reveal website group, and to see, because there's you know, they're experts in corset making, so what adjustments can I make, any improvements or anything. So they got back to me and said, you know, if you wanted to make it, if you wanted to have some gaps at the back for where your lacing is going, then you can make these panels smaller and you can do all this stuff. So I cut it, unpicked it all, cut it, and I cut it too small. Well, I don't think it's too small. So what has happened is I was thinking I only have one thin busk channel, and so this isn't going to be obviously my final piece. Right now I'm just trying to figure out how the panels go together, which is actually really easy, and how the boning goes in, and then I'll get on to like my second or third mock-up where I tackle two fabrics and figure out how the fabrics lay and roll over each other, because obviously when you have one fabric and then another fabric that has the boning channels are in, you need to make sure that they're all smooth when the second fabric lays on top of it, or how that plays in. So that's kind of more, and also the fitting and everything too, right? Thinking for this mock-up, I'll just put it in a zipper. And I was thinking what I'll also do is putting some boning channels. I did modify the panels at the front too for the bust, and that made a huge difference. So I'll keep the bust modifications in, but I will take back in those panels. I did like it touching, I think, too, so I didn't need like a modesty panel to put at the back. So I'll show you the back. I'm just holding it in because I don't have it closed. So it is quite a big gap at the back, and I do have squishy fat right now, or squishy sides, so it's kind of creating this back roll type thing. So I think what I'll do is I'll keep the original, this part of the sides that made it so that it actually was close together. I think I might shave off maybe just like a millimeter off each one, just because I feel like when I did it before, it wasn't super, oh, my pins are falling out. It wasn't super tight, like it couldn't go any tighter because they were already so close together. I'm gonna put in the zipper. So my zipper is popping out just because I've been tightening up the back, but I'm just gonna loosen it. Ooh. And I wasn't too sure if I was gonna put in another section for this and then put in the zipper and then do some boning channels. So I'm still trying to play with that and see, but this is much, much better. I had too much of a gap here last time, so it was, yeah. I think also with, once I get the zipper in, then I will start doing the binding, and I think that'll really finish it off. So yeah, I think this is a good first mock-up for me. I was pretty intimidated before. I think with the modesty panel at the back, I'll add something because it is pretty big gap, and then this will be kind of like, it'll just be done for that one. But I do want to learn how to do the binding at the top because I haven't done that before. But it was a good first mock-up for me. So I think this, I'll do another mock-up with the same fabric and then actually order some more busks because I only have one. So this one, I think if I finish it off and it's actually like a wearable thing, then on my second one I can make it even better, and then my third one, we'll see how it goes on my second one before I get on to my third one. I actually use some sort of other material that has 2 layers and then see how they work and manipulate each other, and then maybe go on to the fourth one where I actually use really nice material and also get some synthetic whale boning. So I think that's how I'm going to go. But I was thinking, even if this one, you know, if I get in the zipper correctly, I have the eyelets already laced up and already done. I need to get some lacing at the back too. I don't have the correct, this is just string. And I thought also, so I took out the front part and I was like, okay, well, I know I'm going to, like, I can keep this one once it's all nice and done. And what I was thinking, at the end of the year, I'll get some indigo or some sort of dye, and I'll just do like whole batches of, you know, the mock-ups that I've done. I've done a couple other mock-ups of different things, but I finished them, and I think it'll look way, way different, right, once it's actually dyed. And I am using cotton and stuff, so I would just have to, say, unpick the zipper, and then I would just throw it in a dye bath and see what it comes out as, and it just might be fun to wear, right? So that's what I was thinking with these ones. So after I put out the busk, I was like, maybe what I could do is just sew it together at the front, and then I could just get in through the back, and that would be completely fine. I wouldn't need a zipper, I wouldn't need a busk or anything. So I did that, and I tried. I don't have anybody to help me with the back, so I was trying to make the string long enough so I'd be able to kind of crawl into the back and then be able to cinch it up, and it will look a lot better. But no, I couldn't even get, I added so much cord to the back and it still wasn't long enough where I'd be able to get it over my shoulders. Like, this just did not fit on my shoulders. So that was kind of a bust, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to add a zipper or something to it. So I ended up going to the store. This is a 12-inch zipper, so that worked out pretty well. I would like to try this eventually in like a linen fabric. I don't know how feasible that is going to be, but I think it would be really nice just to do some sort of, maybe not even have the busk at the front and have a zipper, so it's a little bit more casual than trying to like hook it up. Maybe even like, no, I guess not snaps, because they would just snap off or open if it gets a little too tight. But yeah, and buttons, but so it'd have to be some sort of zipper or anything. But this is a lot of inspiration, right? So I hope you guys are all doing well. I will continuously update you. I'll probably do a separate video at the very end showing you all my corset journey stuff and show you how it is going. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye!